First, he is the former head of the CIA's Bin Laden unit. His next book is called Marching Toward Hell, America and Islam After Iraq. Michael Scheuer. Michael, how you doing?
Fine, sir. Thank you. Good evening.
Okay, so you used to head the Bin Laden unit. You know a lot about this man. He actually quoted you in one of his tapes recently. He said, if you want to understand the reasons why we are losing this war on terror, those are his words, you should read Michael Scheuer's book. How does it feel to be on Bin Laden's book club?
I appreciated the comment, sir. What Bin Laden basically said is that America is fighting a war that doesn't exist. We're fighting because our leaders tell us that the Muslims hate freedom and hate liberty and hate women in the workplace, and that's got nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with what we do in the Islamic world, what our policies are and what our impact is there. And that's what Bin Laden was referring to. That's what my book says.
But you've also said that you don't consider him a terrorist. You consider him a resistance fighter.
Well, what I've said
is the kind of comment that could get you fired off of network television, my friend.
What I've said, sir, is...
What did you mean by that?
What I've said is that he's an insurgent, and so much more dangerous. If he was a terrorist, sir, he would be a lethal nuisance to the United States. He leads an organization that's much more powerful than anything we ever called a terrorist group. And until we treat him as an insurgent leader, we're going to continue to be defeated by him as we are being defeated in Iraq and Afghanistan.
But in those countries that you just named, his approval rating is way down.
Yeah.
I read recently 90% unfavorable for Al-Qaeda and Bin Laden in Iraq and Afghanistan. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I guess he's not running for an election, sir.
No, but it goes against what my understanding of the situation was. I was actually rather shocked to read that.
Well, I think the reality of it is that he's less important than the movement he has spawned. He remains an important figure in the Islamic world, but the fact that there are insurgencies that are defeating the United States at this point in two countries suggests that whatever they're fighting against, he's not particularly important as a popular figure. As an inspirer, he's very important, sir.
And what about the beard? He just dyed his beard black. You're the guy who apparently knows him best. Could you shed some light on why he's going all metrosexual on us?
You know, it could be anything from just being vain. Clearly, he was trying to show us that he's under no pressure at all from the United States and its forces, that he's safe and sound and can dominate the media when he wants to. It could be something as simple as he's getting prepared to get married again. I have no idea, really, sir, but I don't think it's all that important.
Get married again? I mean, it's important for a Muslim man to look virile on his wedding night, so he wants the beard to be black?
It could well be that. It could be well that he just wanted to prove to the Muslim world that he's alive and well and the Americans are impotent.
Mrs. Robinson, this conversation is getting a little... all right, you know, so I guess we're always still trying to figure out why this man and the people he has inspired are trying to attack us. And I believe what you say, and I think it's more about our policy than our way of life. But would you grant me this, that as long as there is an Israel in the world, and I'm a big supporter of Israel, and as long as America backs it, the kind of Muslims that take their religion that seriously, that they would strap on a suicide belt, are always going to be out for us and always going to be trying to kill us.
I think we can reduce it very seriously, sir. I disagree with you on Israel, but...
In what way? You're not a supporter.
I hope Israel flourishes. I just don't think it's worth an American life or an American dollar.
You don't think the existence of Israel in the world is worth an American life or an American dollar?
Not only Israel, sir, but Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or Bolivia. I'm much more...
You're really not telling me that Israel is on a par with Saudi Arabia?
I'm telling you, what I'm telling you, sir, is I'm most interested in the survival of the United States.
But Israel is a democracy in a part of the world that has none.
So what, sir? It doesn't matter to Americans if anyone ever votes again.
It doesn't.
You know, we'll get by. We'll get by just fine, sir.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't get by just fine. So you're saying, like back in 1973, when Israel's very existence was threatened in the Yom Kippur War, and we did come to their aid, we shouldn't have done that, and we shouldn't do it again?
What I'm saying, sir, is we should have revisited the situation after 1973 and not be the unqualified sole supporter of Israel at the moment. I think it earns America tremendous pain and increasingly dead Americans fighting wars that are not ours to fight.
But you did say, I mean, after 9/11, you said the only way to win is to kill more of the enemy.
Yes, sir.
Anywhere we can without a great deal of concern for civilian casualties.
Yes, sir, I said that exactly.
You still believe that? You
Absolutely,
still believe that's
sir.
the way to win, is to kill our way out of it?
That's part of it, sir. The other part is what Mr. Paul has said, is to stop intervening in their world except when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what about what Alan Greenspan said this week, that the intervention in Iraq is largely about oil? Would you agree with that?
I think we've frittered away our independence on oil, sir. If something happens in Saudi Arabia, we go to war. If something happens in the Gulf of Guinea, we go to war. In 35 years, the Congress has managed to move daylight savings time up 3 weeks. We're going to pay for oil with American lives in the near future.
Saying there is oil in the Gulf of Guinea is a slur against Italian Americans, and I won't take it here. Michael Scheuer, I have to cut you off, but you're always fascinating. Thank you very much. I'm glad you joined us, and please come back soon. Okay.